Hello, welcome back. This next step I'd like to do is a minor change in what we did earlier. So at the moment, we have a little preview for each of these filters. But the one thing it's not doing that I'd like it to do is actually show what it looks like when this filter is added to this filter, and then added to this filter, which is added to this filter. So I'd like each filter to be a filter based on the previous image, because right now they're not. If they were, then this last filter should look similar to this, right? Uh, or, another way to look at it is if we invert an invert filter, we should get the original image. In other words, two invert filters should bring us back here, and that's not what's happening. So let's see if we can make that change. It shouldn't be too hard. So to do that, we want to go to our Select Filters View controller. And at the moment, when we create our image, we just, grab the original image and apply the filter to it. And we need to do a little bit more than that. So let's write a function. Func. Let's call it get filtered image for row. The row for row. Actually, yeah, we don't really need to say that. I'll keep going. Let's go. So row is going to be an int. Nice. Okay. So let's think about this for a second. Now, one thing I'd like to have happen is I'd like there to be a caching mechanism. I'd like to, and we can put this in from the get-go, I think. So I'm going to go up here. And in my mind, I can visualize that we can have something like this. var filtered thumbnails cache. Okay, what would that be? That would be an array of images, I think. Yeah, it could be an image, could be a UI image. Either should be fine. Okay, let's go with that. Right, actually it'll be smarter to be an image. I'm thinking about this now. Yeah, there's going to be less casting required to do that. Cool. And I'm just going to start off by saying that's an empty array. Is that good? Okay, this is our way of just saying, hey, don't worry about it. It's always populated. Okay. Now, where were we again? We were over near the cell creation. We were down here, get filter for, right. So what I want to do is we want to check if the row we're looking for is already in the cache. So that's a good starting point. And the way the cache is going to work, it's going to start off being a 0 length, and as we add rows, it'll get bigger. So we can just check to see if the row we want is in the cache. So we'll say if row is less than what did we call that thing again? What was the name of it? Filtered thumbnails cache. Okay, if it's less than that length, then all we need to do is return. Okay, now what's this going to return? This will return, I'm going to say this is going to return an image. So this can just return straight from the cache row. Okay, that looks pretty good so far. Else, so if we don't find it in the cache, then obviously we have to create it. And what did I do not quite right here? Oh, right, it's not called length, it's called, let's see, this is an array. I think it's called count. Yes. Okay, next thing. So we'll need to do something special for the 0th row. Okay, if we're on row 0, then we need to do something special. Otherwise, we need to grab the previous image. Now, ooh, we can make this recursive. Yes. Okay, so let's think about subsequent rows first. So let's do that. I'm going to say the way to create a filtered image is as follows. The filter, let filter. Okay, the filter is easy enough to figure out. That's just the filter model, filters model dot filter dot filters and the current row. Okay, now with that out of the way, what do we need to do? We know that we need the previous, so I'm just going to say previous image equals, okay, and this is where it gets fun. The previous image is just, we just ask for it from this function. So give me the previous image, and it's at row -1. Okay, so that makes this a little recursive. So we have our filter, we have our previous image. Now we can just take that filter and apply it to the previous image. Okay, and that will give us the filtered image, right? And the last thing is, believe it or not, if you do the math, I think we know that the cache will have been populated right up to this point. So we can just go filtered thumbnail cache dot append filtered image. Okay, so we've added ourselves into the cache, and then we can just return the filtered image. Okay, and I think I need to do filtered image. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now, I didn't put in special handling for the 0th row yet, and to do that, there's two ways to do it. We could put it right here where we get the image. I could do something here, or I can actually put it right in here. We could do a little, the code's actually a little more concise, I think, if we say if row is, we're going to make less than 0 a special case. Okay, if row is less than 0, we'll just return the original image converted to an image. So that's this line right here. And we'll just say special case for first row. Okay, that looks about right. Let's try this out. Now up here, so this does all the logic, but we're not using this method yet. So we want to change this stuff up here. So at the moment, we can just get rid of this. And instead, we'll say get filtered image for row, where the row is, and we just pass in our index path. Okay, so let's give that a quick run. See if it compiles, see as if it runs. Oh, and I just thought of something else we need to do. The logic for this doesn't work very well unless we make sure we clear out the cache when we rebuild some stuff. So I'll need to add that too. But that's okay. We can just do that. Let's test it first. That looks good. That looks good. I see it's a little darker, so I think they're adding up together. That looks about right. Invert. That looks good. So if we go apply, that looks exactly like our preview. And if we've done this right, if we invert and invert, we should get the original image back, which we do. Okay, so I think we've done a pretty good job. I'm going to do one last change before we call it done, and that is whenever we handle filter changes, that's a good spot for us to, the filters have changed. We need to make sure that this gets redone. Now I happen to know as soon as we do this filters changes, this will get, uh, yeah, all of the filter cells will get regenerated. So I'm going to go in here and we're just going to do this. We're going to, and this is always a safe thing to do actually. We're going to say, and whenever we to handle filters changes, we can just reset the cache. Oops, didn't mean to erase that. Sweet. Okay. Now that should mean that I should be able to move the filters around and the images should update correctly. Maybe I should have ran it in the broke state first. Okay, so if I take my invert and move it, say up here, hey, that looks about right. Okay, and let's do another thing. I'm going to add a second invert filter. Okay, I'm going to drag this to here. That should give us the original image, and it does. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. Just to make sure we got our boundary set correctly, I'm going to drag this all the way to the bottom, and that looks good. Okay, so yeah, that's our that's a nice little enhancement, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you very much.